everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm with the lovely Dora, and if you don't know who I am Megan Elphick from Elphick.Event.Ponies. So I'm collaborating with the wonderful digital horse today, who I will talk about in just a second. But what we're doing is a kind of educational video to teach you a little bit about long reining, long lunging, long lining. People call it different things all over the world, but it's essentially having two lunge reins, walking behind them, and then I'm going to show you how you can also lunge them with a rein behind their bum. It's a really good way of being able to feel the horse. You get to feel their mouth, but you also get to see the overall picture, which obviously you can't do whilst you're riding. So a little bit of information about Digital Horse for those of you who don't know. You may well be watching this video on their platform, so thank you very much if you are, or you might be watching on YouTube on my channel. Also, big thank you, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, got to get that in somewhere, guys. Digital Horse is a global network of like-minded horsey lovers as well as equine businesses. It's a really great platform where you can share all of your horsey stories, all of your horsey updates, and it's completely hate-free. There is a zero tolerance policy for bullying, so it's a really nice place to be. So it's not just a social media platform, there are really good features, so you can log all of your individual horses. I'm in the process of putting all of mine on there because I have a few too many, but you can make them individual profiles where you can tell people their age, what they do, like their disciplines, and just general information about them. You can also use it as kind of a diary or calendar type tool for yourself, so you can track all of your training, you can put in your shoeings, you can note when they've been vaccinated, wormed. It's a great space to have all of the information about your horses, and you're not going to lose it, because I, for one, always forget when horses have had certain things done. So it's super useful. So this video you're watching now is going to be on their brand new training feature page. Be sure to check it out, guys, because there's loads of videos which will be going over all sorts of things. There's things to do with eventing, show jumping, there's fitness with Nikki T Fitness, so you should be following on Instagram because she's amazing. They're also going to be introducing some feeding videos. So there's loads of stuff to get stuck into. And the great thing about this is Digital Horse are super keen to have these very realistic. They're not going to be those annoying videos which brush over all of the problems, don't show them to you. You're going to be able to see all of the issues that might incur whilst you're doing certain training exercises or just trying to learn things new for yourself. So hopefully it'll be a really good way of learning and just enjoying horses, which we love to do. Dora's gone to sleep, which isn't ideal, so I'm going to show you what you're going to need for this video in just a second, but I'm going to pop it all on Dora first, and then we'll head out to school and I'll show you how I long line. Okay, so we are ready to go now to do our long lining session. First, I'll go over what I've got on. So I'm wearing riding boots. If you're not happy walking in riding boots, make sure you've just got a nice covered shoe, okay? There's a chance of being trodden on, there always is with horses, so cover them tootsies up, guys. Always wear a hard hat. You're going to be walking behind a horse. I don't need to go over this, guys. Hoof to the head, not good. Also, I'll say this now, when I'm long reining, I always think, could the horse kick me in the face from here? If the answer is yes, you're too close, so just step back a little bit. Finally, gloves. You're going to be holding your lunge reins. These are often nylon. If that pulls through your hand really fast, you're going to get some serious rope burn. So always wear gloves. Now let's go over the pony. So you are going to need your two lunge reins. Dora's also got a nice Cavesson snaffle bridle on. I like to keep them in a snaffle for this. You're trying to encourage them to have a really soft, nice mouth. So a snaffle is going to be the wisest bit to choose. I've decided to take her reins off because she's not going to be ridden after this, but if you're doing it before you ride, you could have the reins on, but make sure you tie them up and thread them through their throat lash. Journeying back, we've then just got a roller and a numner with a bit of a fluffy bit is what that is. It's just to sort of spread the pressure out a little bit. But yeah, she's got the roller on, which has got all of the little fastenings, so you can use this for other lunging aids. So if you don't have a roller or you were planning to long line before you got on, you can also use your saddle with the stirrups run down, but you've got to make sure your stirrups are either tied to the girth or you can tie them underneath, because the reins are going to be going through the stirrups, and if you turn, if they're not tied, the stirrups just going to fly off to the side, and it's not going to end well, let me tell you that. So this is all the equipment you need. We're going to head out to the school now and I'll show you how to kind of get started. I will mention now, guys, it is easiest if you've got another person helping you on the ground, especially if you've never long lined before. In fact, I'd say if you've never done this before, please get a trainer, get someone who has done it to help you for the first few times, because it's quite easy to get in a little bit of a mess. You can get tangled up. Also, if your horse has never done it, it is a new experience for them. They're going to have these around their bottom, which is not really what horses like in day-to-day life. They're fine once you've got them used to it, but obviously Dora, when she first came, I don't think had it done, so she took just a little bit of time to desensitise. You can obviously do all the work in the stable, rubbing the lunge lines over them, getting them used to it. But yeah, if you've never done it, just get some help before you do, but hopefully this video is a good starting point for you to sort of see how you can get started. Said start a lot. Okay, we are in the school. I've organised my lunge reins. What I will say, guys, is don't have any knots in them, because if they pull you and you've got a knot in it, your hand is going to very abruptly stop them and then it's going to yank them in the mouth, and we're trying to encourage a really nice soft contact. So knot-free, twist-free, organised lunge lines. Now, let's show you how we do this. Hobbit is currently behind the camera, being a bit David Bailey, sorry Dora. So I'm going to show you how I sort of manage by myself. It is easier to have someone else help you, but you know, girls got to do what girls got to do. So you're going to thread this through this big D-ring, clip it onto the bit, and make sure the clip is facing away from their face like that, guys. It's just because it could end up pinching them or clipping onto their face. So I've never had that happen, but I've always been quite strict about clipping it like that. Just gonna get those twists out there. I can sort the rest out later. So I've just popped this on her back there. I'm going to then quietly tiptoe around the other side and repeat the process. Obviously, if it's your horse's first time or they're a bit nervous, don't do that, because if they shoot off, it's going to go on the floor. But Dora is very used to this. You can see my pony is being very well behaved for me. So same again, post it through and clip it onto the bit, clips facing out. Grab your rein here. What's always good, guys, is if you hold the loop of the lunge rein in a finger somewhere. That way, if they do shoot off away from you, that's quite a secure thing to hold. It's not going to slip through your fingers. So nice little tip if you've got that. I'm going to pat her on the bum, make sure she knows that a lunge line is about to go behind her bottom. Dora, could you care less? I think not. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit of slack here. Slip this down behind her bum, step away from the pony, and if she walks off like that, that is absolutely fine. Just gonna let her walk away. Sorry guys, had a bit of a camera issue, but what happened there is I popped it on and Dora walked off. Now that is absolutely fine. I like to let them move off, because obviously I've just slipped something behind her bum. That can mean move forward for a horse, so I don't want to then yank her mouth and tell her to stop. So we walked off a bit around the school. I'm then gonna tell her to stop, or she's just gonna eat grass. But this is what I would do. I'd let them walk away, then give them the voice command and a little bit of pressure down the reins just to tell them to stop. And walk on. So long reining, you are going to learn that you're going to use all sorts of voice commands. It is really good for getting them used to your voice and getting them to learn what whoa means, what clicking means. Walk on. Good girl. If you want them to go a little bit more forward, depending on how happy your horse is, you can kind of flap them on the bum like that. You'll see Dora responds quite quickly, so I tend to just do voice commands with her. So getting started, it's very, very chilled. We just kind of walk around, we do lots of changing of bend, make sure she's happy with everything, make sure she's happy with the pressure down the reins. And I'm sort of staying a horse's distance away from her. You can go a little bit further. Obviously, the further away you are, the kind of less connection you have. But saying that, you obviously don't want to be right behind their bottom. So make sure you've got a nice horse's distance between you and your beautiful steed. This is really weird with the microphone on. I'm hoping you can hear me because Mum's miles away. Mummy, can you hear me? Okay guys, so quick example, your reins can get a little bit tangled up when you're walking around and doing all this change of direction. So it's good to keep them organised. So what I do is get the pony to stop, and then one at a time I will drop one, reorganise it, bring the loop up like that, hold it like that, and good girl, drop the other one, quickly reorganise it, bring the loop up, walk on, good girl. So you kind of have to pick your moments when you're reorganising yourself. If they're careering off with you, probably not the best time, just deal with it not being very pretty, but walk on. When you can, it's always good to have nice organised lunge reins. So quickly talk about why I really enjoy doing this. Especially for youngsters, it is an amazing tool before you actually ever get on them. You can get them used to a bit of pressure on their mouth. Walk on. Good girl. And steering, obviously all of the voice commands I'm giving her, she's learning, so she's going to know when I get on her. Walk on. Obviously we're already riding Dora, but I did do this before we rode her. She's going to know what certain things mean. She's going to feel a lot more comfortable having a person not at her head, because obviously we deal with horses until they're 3 or 4 years old. We're always at their head, and then suddenly we get on them, they don't know where we are. So it's quite nice to be in a different space, and she's kind of having to think and do things for herself. So what I will show you in a minute is when we start lunging with the rein behind their bum. That's also really good for babies. It's a great way of desensitizing them. It's getting them used to having things touching them all over, but it's not just good for babies. I do it with all of my more experienced horses. Walk on. Like I said before, it's a really nice way of being able to feel the horse and see the horse at the same time. Walk on. Great way of getting a bit of connection on their mouth, getting them to work in an outline, getting them to bend through their bodies. You can see there, Dora's doing a really nice job. Another reason why this is good, a bit of a workout for us. They can't hear you, Mum. Mum's shouting at me saying I should run. You can obviously do a bit of running, and I do that with the youngsters. It's a hot June day. Don't know if I'll be doing that today. Another tip though, because I often use this for going out hacking, it's so good for getting your youngsters out hacking for the first time. Once they're comfortable with having you here, obviously definitely take someone with you going out hacking. But out hacking, they're going to stop a lot and look. So my rule for long lining is if they stop, you stop. Don't just keep marching. Sorry, Dora. Don't just keep marching into their bottom. So there, she stopped a little bit. I gave her a little pat with the rein down her bum, and we leapt forward. That's all right, because she needs to learn that she's going forward, and it was a lot better than a smack or a kick in the ribs. So hopefully she's going to learn to be nice and sensitive to my aids once we're riding. And stand. Good. Walk on. You're all right. So we've done lots of transitions like that. I've done lots of changes of rein. Another thing you can do whilst you're like this, guys, is do some like weaving in and out of blocks or something. Also take them over poles is really good. So what we're going to do now is get a little bit away from the fence. We're going to start getting her into the sort of lunging way of doing it. And I'm going to gently start by just coming a bit diagonal to her. Good girl. And just using that inside rein just to let her know we're going on a circle. Good girl, Dora. And I'm not walking behind her anymore. So my red rein, it's quite useful having different coloured reins here, is obviously gone behind her bum. So you want to make sure this, good girl, walk on, doesn't get too slack, guys. Obviously you don't want it slipping below her hocks. Walk on, good girl. So just keep an eye on that outside rein, and your inside one is gently guiding her round, getting her to flex nicely through her ribs there. And you'll see now she's taking up a little bit of a contact. So this is a fab way of introducing a contact to them. And personally, I much prefer doing it like this, walk on, rather than with an aid like a bungee or like side reins or draw reins, because this way I have complete control over her mouth. Walk on. I know how much pressure is going on it. I can release that pressure when she does well. It's not just a permanent fixed thing, because if you start with a fixed thing pulling their head down, you're going to get a fixed outline, and it's very, very hard to train horses out of that. Walk on, good girl. Another little tip, guys, is try and just stay behind their shoulder, just so you're moving them forward. Obviously she's been used to having me behind there, so you don't want to be in front of her, because then she might think I want her to go the other way. So what we can do now is pop her up into trot. Trot. Trot on. Nice, good girl. Good girl. So I'm just loosening off with the reins a little bit there. She got a tiny bit confused with me asking her to turn. She thought it meant stop. So that's fine. I just released the pressure a little bit and let her travel forward and then pick it up. So this is what I mean about seeing and feeling the horse. Good girl. Walk on. So you'll do quite a lot of walking with this still, but not as much walking as you do when you're behind them. Forwards. Just with this inside rein, I'm just doing sort of like a half halt. So little bit of a squeeze. Good girl. And then release, like so. Good girl. So you'll see, she sort of takes her nose forward like that. She gets a nice release. That's her reward. Bit of a rubbish reward, I know, but they're horses, they like that. So depending on how experienced your horse is, you can push them up into canter once they're warm enough. Dora's still quite a baby. She's going to struggle to canter on the bit like this. So I'm just working her in walk and trot at the minute, but my more experienced horses will do a bit of canter. You ready for the complicated bit, guys? We're going to change the rein. Walk on. So you can do this by just getting back behind them and stopping them and then them to go the other way, or you can do it matrix style, and you can try and do a combination of shortening your reins at the right time. I'm going to wait now till I'm in the right place. I've shortened my red one, bit of pressure down that. Good girl, walk on. And then try and get that red one shorter again. Oh, do you look at that? Poetry in motion. Walk on. And there we have it, a little rein change. So when you're doing that, just make sure you're not gonna sort of drive them into the fence. So position yourself well to do a kind of figure of 8 so that you can change the rein. And then we're gonna pop her back onto a circle. And as you get more comfortable, guys, or as the horse gets more comfortable, you can start to let the reins out a little bit longer. Walk on. I'd say when you first start them off, you don't want to have them on a great big circle. It's just more to get tangled up with. So you can see Dora's quite relaxed now. I've almost got my lunge line as long as it will go. Good girl, little bit of pressure down that inside rein there. A bit more bend, please, Dor. Trot on. So I just flapped the brown lunge rein behind her bum a bit there, just to tell her to move forward. Oh, this pony is so classy. I love her. Good girl. Dora's 4 for people that don't know, watching. And she was imported over from Ireland. We got her in February. And we've taken it quite slow because she's a little bit weak, but this has been so helpful for her because she's not got my big lump of a bum on her back. But I can still work her really nicely. I can get her coming through from behind, get her working in a bit of an outline, get her bending. Look at that, good girl. Well done. Good girl. So, I'm going to carry on doing this for a bit. I've just noticed what I'm doing is I'm bringing my brown one really high and across my red one. You don't want to do that, guys. But this is what I mean. This is why these videos are good, because we're kind of learning together. I'm by no means a professional long lunger, long reiner. Brown one needs to be shorter. You're all right. Oh, look at that. So that's where you want to do that kind of swoop, guys. Good girl. And walk on. Well done. You are doing so good. You are doing so good. And woo. And woo. bit of pressure there. Good. Good girl, and walk on. So keep the transitions up, guys, when you're doing this. Also, something I will say, which I get carried away with, is when I'm lunging, I'm not doing much work here, so it's easy to have them trotting around for 10 minutes flat without giving them a break. So remember, just because you're not tired, they might be tired. So I have to remind myself, especially with the young ones, to give them a break. Walk on. Okay, so Dora has had a nice walk off now. I'm so chuffed with how she's worked. Honestly, guys, this is such a good tool to use to introduce a bit of a contact, introduce a nice sort of connection through the rein into the bit, and obviously to try and encourage them to have a lovely soft mouth and to listen to us. So super happy with how she's worked. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to stop. So I'm going to slowly drift back behind her. Good girl, walk on. Well done. I'm going to ask her to whoa. Woohoo. Now, I would normally have Mum come and help me at this point, but I'm going to try and show you how I do it on my own. So I'm going to creep up a little bit. Good girl. I know I'm talking to the camera, but I would normally be talking to the horse. Well done, Dora. You can sometimes lie it down, but I personally, good girl, don't like that way of doing it. I'm going to bring this outside rein up and over her bum like that. Good girl. Go back to that start position. You're all right. Well done. I'm going to unclip this one here. Thread it back through. Good girl, Dora. Clip it back on so I have a rein there. Journey round the outside, unclip that, thread it through. It's a bit of a military operation, this. Off her back. And final thing is to clip this onto the right side. I have my horse, I'm still on the right side, all limbs are intact, and she was an absolute superstar, so we cannot ask any more of that session. I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I hope it was nice and informative. I've sort of done it in a raw state on purpose because I want you guys to just see exactly what it's like to long rein a horse. So I've left in any little mistakes, any bits where my reins got a bit twisted or whatever, but hopefully it's been useful and it can be something you can learn from. So I did quickly mention that it's a great tool to take youngsters out hacking for the very first time. You can obviously go out with someone at their head. You can also take another horse out and have someone at their head. I did it with Dora. I'll be popping a few clips in right now. So before I hacked her around the little loop we had, I long reined her around it several times, gets them to see everything, gets them really bold and brave because they're going off and doing it by themselves. So I would really, really recommend doing that. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this training video, but make sure you head over to Digital Horse. There's so many more training videos on there which you can enjoy and learn from. So I'll leave the link to Digital Horse in the description below. Also, guys, please send me a connection request because I'm on there and I want to be connected to all of you guys. So make sure you head over if you've not got an account. It is so easy to start one. It's completely free. You just need an email address or you can sign up through Facebook. Super easy, no excuse. I'm going to be looking for your connection requests and I'll be very, very sad if you don't send one. I'll also be sad if you don't give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe, hit the bell. Leave a sneaky comment. Anyway, I've blabbed on for so long now, so it is farewell and goodbye from me and Dora the Dorito. Hope you enjoyed. Join me soon because there's going to be lots more videos coming on this channel. Head over to Digital Horse and just have a lovely day. All right, see you very, very soon. Bye.